I don't see it. There we go. Look at you. Can you see? We're going to go through some tech stuff here for just a moment while we adjust because, we're not high. And scooch back just a little bit, Tim. Good morning. Happy New Year. Ooh. There. What? uh, yeah, this is how we're going to start the new year off, right?
Yeah.
Good morning. What did happen? It switched. So, welcome to the very first coffee conversation in 2023 with the Bradshaw family. I'm Amber,
I'm Tim.
and we are two of the five Bradshaw family members. However, our homestead here is growing, and we moved stop, off the coast of East No. God's sake. Sorry. Where did we move from? It's
The
way
East
too early.
Coast. We moved from the East Coast to East Tennessee.
Is it really too hard to talk right now since we haven't had our
Well,
coffee?
yeah.
And y'all, it's dark in here. I was glowing the other day when I was doing this. It's for the very first time because the sun was shining in my face. And now it's so dark. The sun hadn't come up yet here in East Tennessee, and it's 8 o'clock, which is really weird. But anyhow, so welcome. Thanks for joining. And I can't see who is here. That's one of the bad things about the YouTube thing. I can't see who's in chat. But anyhow, thanks for joining. So grab a cup of Joe while we figure out all the tech issues. That's why I hit the button a little early so we could work this out.
Yeah. It's,
We're a little rusty. It's been a while.
my eyes look real dark.
I know you do look dark. I think you need to
I
scooch
got,
over
I got
here.
a lot of forehead going on this morning too. I
This
apologize
isn't a beauty
for that.
contest. People, I mean, I mean, you literally just walked in chicken poop right before we went live.
I did clean it off there.
Yeah, we when you homestead and you have livestock, it's all about poop and sex. I think we discussed this before. Animal sex. Now,
Oh, just stop.
well, we
Just stop.
okay. So, anyways, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
I sometimes we talk about what we're going to talk about in live. Wait. Happy New Year, guys. May be a great one. Thank you, Sherry. Happy New Year to you, honey. I didn't hate 2022. 2021, 2020 wasn't a fan of either of those. I didn't hate 2022. I actually, some amazing things happened. But, huh?
Yeah, I think sometimes the later years prepare you for the new years, but then they throw a monkey wrench in the whole thing, and you just kind of have to figure it out as you go.
Well, 2022, we'll do a little recap. If I can remember correctly, the first part of the year we had the coffee shop. And then we had kind of a bad winter and then flooding. And then the spring, we closed the coffee shop. And then I got the new job working for a company out of Canada, staying at home, writing, right, doing what I love. And then I had surgery, knee surgery, and I was down most of the summer.
Old football injury.
Yeah, me, my football. And then Timmy, you worked morning, noon, and night on Gavin and Ashland's new house, pretty much all summer long and fall.
I'm still there.
Mentally. Well, we still have some things to button up. But for those of you that haven't asked about the kids, they're doing good. Their married life is great. They look like two little, puppy love, newlywed kids. And their homestead life is a little different because they're both working full time, 40 plus hours a week. That's getting ready to change here shortly, starting tomorrow, because where Ashton works is closed for the season, Dollywood. And that will be very interesting to see how things progress as she's home full time because neither of them, they work 12, 14-hour days and they come home and go to sleep and that's it. So their homestead life and off-grid life hasn't progressed at all. But their house, it's livable. That's all I got to say about that. It's livable. It's not, nothing's perfect. We don't, we've been here 3 years and it ain't perfect in our house here. nowhere near. But they'll make it their own, and we'll help them when they ask for help, and that's about it. What?
We'll do what we can do.
Well, they're going to have to figure out a lot on their own too, because you know how it is with kids. They don't listen to you. You can tell them they don't listen. They got to do it themselves, and you don't want to watch them fall. You want them to succeed, but it's how we learn. It's how we've learned. It's how y'all learn. We learn most from our failures and what not to do. So that's how they'll succeed, by letting them fall a couple times, right?
Well,
We don't have to get into it
no, I mean, being here all together the way we are is we can kind of see things coming now that they can't see, and
because we did it.
we try to
Warn
give them
them.
a little head warning to make sure that it doesn't happen, but it could happen to them.
They don't
So,
listen.
but and then they're like, well, yeah, well, we're just going to go out to eat then.
Now, they'll figure it out.
That's
They'll
just
figure
an
out their
example.
priorities. And
Yeah.
and I, we can say this, but we're guilty of the same thing. I'm sitting here looking at our non-insulated walls, and certainly there had to have been a day at least in the last 3 years that we could have done it, and we didn't. So, yeah, that's on us too. It's just easier to see it in other people.
It is.
It's easier
Yeah.
to see it in other people. So let's fast forward. We're doing the year recap. So Timmy and Gavin when he was off, but mostly it was Timmy because Gavin works full time, worked on their house every single day, and it was such a hard push to get it ready for them to move into the November 4th, because the third they got married and they were moving in that fourth, and they did. They moved in it, and they were in it like just a couple weeks, and then they went on their honeymoon for a week on a cruise. And during that time, my mom moved here from South Carolina. Did I miss something? I'm sorry, I don't have a lot of information about Little Bit. She's great. She turned 11 in November. She's so easygoing. She's getting in that sassy age, where she's around us all the time, so she has a much older personality, like an old soul for a kid. She doesn't play as much as I'd like her to, like the goofy. She's kind of serious a lot, and does the homeschool, is doing really well with that, and very artistic. And but I, thankfully, there's not a lot of drama. Thankfully, so there's not a lot to mention with her, other than the fact that she's getting to want to be very much independent. Like right now, she wants to move out at 11 into
Oh,
her own place.
yeah.
Not like leave us.
Yeah. Well, she's a teenager.
No, she's not. She's
She's
11.
11 teen.
11. We got to remember that.
Yeah. In her mind, she's not
Her in
11.
mind, she's 20.
Yeah. And her favorite word now is why.
Yeah,
Why?
she did that to me
Linda,
last
don't
night.
do that. Why?
Yeah, we had a quick come to Jesus meeting last night in the car when she asked me that. I was not happy. But I answered. Did I answer or did I just say because I said so?
That's what she said.
I think I said because I said so. But in my defense, I was driving in some very dense fog and couldn't see the road, and I didn't have the patience nor the wherewithal to explain myself. I will today though, because I don't think just because I said so is a proper answer.
Yeah.
But
When your fog lights don't work in the fog, it's pretty sick.
and I was driving like 5 miles an hour. So moving
Yeah.
forward, okay. So Lyndon's great. Gavin and Ashton are good. Morgan has found herself a very sweet young man that she moved in with in Knoxville, in this kind of in the city, not really. She works at Starbucks, a coffee shop. She quit her other job that she managed for the year at a coffee shop, and they are in the countryside in New York right now in the snow,
Syracuse.
Syracuse,
Yeah.
and she's doing good. She's doing good, and continue to pray for her if you would please, because we all just pray for her. I would appreciate that. Thanks. And if you guys have a prayer request, please drop it because I love praying for other people.
Yeah. We always pray. For our kids.
Oh, we're
It's,
supposed to as
it's
parents.
it really it helps me. To I don't know. It gives me a bit of comfort. But with her, being so far away, it you miss your kids when they're gone. I mean, no matter how old they are.
But it is, I mean, if you do your job right, you can have trust and faith that
Yeah,
they're making the right decisions,
yeah.
But you never stop worrying as a parent. But she is coming around more. If you used to watch our coffee conversations, you know about that situation. And we're very thankful because, again, the young man that she's dating is super, super sweet. He and his mother's husband, I think it's his stepfather, run a like small contracting business. So it's kind of in the same field that Timmy and I were in for over 20 years. And they came over for Christmas, and again, they left. They're in New York right now. But then my mom moved here from South Carolina in November, and she actually moved into the little cabin Gavin lived in. And it has been a different situation. It's like, I don't know, interesting. There you go, put it that way. Because the cabin wasn't ready for her to move into, and God moved really quick getting her here. It's like it went from, hey, I'm going to sell my house and put it on the market, and I'm like, oh, okay, and I said, Lord, um, hang on just a second. Happy New Year's from North Maine. Happy New Year's. I bet it's cold there, isn't it? I always just assume Maine is cold. Um,
Maine is beautiful.
Maine is beautiful. I've always wanted to go there and never been. But anyhow, with my mom, it went from, hey, I'm going to put my house on the market. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I was in wedding mode. I mean, we were planning the wedding, and she moved here like a week and a half after the wedding. I sold my house and they want me out in 2 weeks. Kind of like the same situation when we moved.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, well, when God moves, he moves very quickly. And boom, she was here. So ever since she got here, now Timmy has adjusted from working on Gavin and Ashland to working on the cabin and getting it uh, comfortable enough for a senior to live in that has physical limitations. So I can't say another word other than it's been interesting.
I got nothing.
You got you got your
I'm
coffee.
just, I'm rolling, man. I'm just rolling with it.
He is. He's doing very well with that because sometimes you can let this life or life in general freak you out, stress you out. I mean, you get all this anxiety and you get high blood pressure as you get older, and you just let it ruin your mood every single day. But this life, it's hard. Life is hard. Our life is hard because everything that we a typical person does in a normal urban home, it's 10 times harder here living off grid in the mountains. So you don't have time. You've got to just survive. You don't have time to sit and stew about all of the things that are happening in your life. And if you can't be flexible and roll with the punches a little bit, you're gonna tap out quick, honey. Right?
So you're gonna throw in the towel.
But you've been good. You've handled it with grace this year, I have to say.
Well, yeah.
It's
I mean, I've had my moments. I've stomped
yeah,
my feet like a little baby, but
yeah. You have.
I think it's just sometimes it gets kind of emotional, when you realize what it takes to live, here, and the cold that we just had. I mean, we have never had that type of cold.
Not since we lived here.
I mean, we're
Oh,
we're beach bums. We came from
the
the
ocean.
ocean and surfing and sun and sand, and
I
I
will say
mean,
this is it's
golly,
harder on Timmy in the cold than it is on the rest of us because he does all the heavy lifting. He brings the firewood in, he hauls the water, and
and I don't have
so
any meat on my
he
bones.
does. And he's got a bony little butt. He ain't got no meat on it. And it makes it a little tougher. But yeah, this winter has it's only been a kiss of winter. Was a wake up call in our preps, and we consider ourselves kind of preppers of sorts, and more prepared than most, less prepared than others. We're kind of right there in the middle. I'd like to be a lot different than that, but every natural disaster that we have here lets us know where our weak links are. And this one really let us know where our weak links are. Where would you say? And we'll do winter prep in another
Yeah,
conversation because that's a long one.
it
But
is.
um, we're moving into 2023 now, and the older you get, time goes by so quickly. And I know that's cliche to say, but it does. And I never believed it because as a kid, everything took so long to get there. Turning 16, Christmas, summer break, and now as an adult, I was talking to our friend Tia, the one that lives in Denmark this
Mm-hmm.
morning, and I guess it's evening or afternoon there.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "So how are your babies?" Because last I talked to her, they were
Mm-hmm.
babies. She goes, "Oh,
Yeah.
they're 7 and 3 now." I'm like, "Wait, what? When did that happen?" Seriously, I swear I just talked to her yesterday, and it was like
Yeah.
they were babies. But anyhow, we got to focus on 2023. And I don't like to call them resolutions because resolutions normally get broke within the first 30 days. I like to call them goals for the year or focus for the year. Have you thought about that? What you would like to get accomplished this year? We haven't even talked about it. I made mine. I haven't talked to him about it.
Well, mine is not to get hurt.
Oh, that's a good one. How are you going to
And
do that? Because I saw you almost fall off the extension ladder 2 days ago.
yeah, we have.
With no, and I said, "Are you strapped in?" Because I bought this like $100 safety system, and before that, we bought him a $400 safety system. So he has all the carabiners, all of the ropes, all of the harness, the vest. I even bought him like this new pair of $100 tennis shoes to have extra gription when he goes on stuff, and none of it, not one stitch of it, was on his body.
Well, yeah, and a lot of that stuff is for the roof, and
You
I
were
could have had a rig, but I was on a 32-foot ladder, pretty much extended out,
a 32-foot ladder extended
and
out, and the foundation that it was on was limbs that he had cut down off of trees. It was like a bouncy pile of limbs, y'all. Yeah, you just about made me a widow.
uh, but everything's all right.
And I had just gone out to check on him, and I'm walking back to the house, and I hear bang, clang, 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 drop, 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 and I waited for a big oof, or something. And I turned back, and I didn't want to look back just to make sure he was still on the ladder.
You'd have to look up.
Well, I was looking back to see if you were on the ground or not. So yeah, not dying in
Yeah,
2023 would be great.
yeah. So
And what else? Anything else? I mean, that's a pretty big goal. It's a full time job. Uh,
sell some goats.
Sell some goats. Yeah, we'll talk about that too. Maybe we'll talk about that next week. Because in 2023, I'd like to figure out what's working and what isn't. And you do something, it's a great idea. You look on Pinterest, you look at all those little perfect homesteaders on YouTube and everything. You're like, oh, I want to do that. And then you do it. It's like,
Mm.
yeah. So, and not that I do that because I don't watch YouTube or anything, but there were things that we wanted to implement or that we did implement in our homestead that we thought was going to be a great idea, and it's just not working. It doesn't make sense. What is that? The definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results? That's where we're kind of at.
Well, I'm definitely insane, then.
So I'd like to figure out what's working and what isn't in 2023 and get rid of what isn't working and focus on what is instead of just trying to spread yourself so thin and being all over the map.
Well, I'm glad I'm working.
You are working. I'd get rid of you if you weren't. Everything on a homestead has to have a purpose. I always say that. We're not here to raise pets. We're not here to do a hobby garden. I'm not, we're here to survive and thrive. And if it isn't, if something, anything, even something in your house, if it doesn't serve a purpose, get rid of it.
Mm.
I'm not talking about divorce or anything, y'all. So don't go there. I'm just talking realistically. If it doesn't serve a greater purpose in it or multi purposes, then get rid of it. Chris, good morning, honey. Happy New Year. I haven't talked to you in a while. It's nice to see you. Next, two of the things that I hadn't talked to you about would like us to focus on 2023 is our infrastructure. And we had the one year that we were here, we are just building, building structures, building our house, building the goat shed, building the chicken coop. And then the second year we transitioned up here and we were transitioning to living off grid and trying to be comfortable. And that third year, you built addition, which is our bedroom and our pantry, and we focused a lot on livestock that year. We moved the pigs up here. We increased fencing. We built the rabbit hutch. We focused a lot on livestock, and then this year has been everything about Gavin and Ashlyn, and then my mother, and we've done stuff for us too, and then my surgery. and the healing from that. And then we've caught sickness a couple times that's put us down for several weeks. So this coming year, I'd like to bounce back to more of an infrastructure, like fencing our property for security, really, really focusing on water. If you guys watched Homestead Rescue, I mentioned this the other day. We still don't have water here, but we have all the bones for it. So we're still collecting rainwater. We're still hauling water half a mile up from the artesian well. We're still doing those things, and it's not. I mean, we make it work. Timmy makes it work, but it's not functional in the right sense. It just gets us by, and that takes a lot of time, and it's aggravating for you. So water, I think, should be top priority, as well as insulating our home. So what you think about them apples? Those are my goals.
Yeah.
And this is the hard part. I can't do any of it. I can just be the motivational support. So I'm kind of making his goals for him. I gotta get more coffee.
Yeah, we just need to focus on a start. If you can ever just get started with something and stick with it. But it seems like, when you get started on something, something else comes up, and, like Amber always says, live things come first, and before you know it, you've kind of put things on the back burner, and you're doing other things now. Um,
Correct.
we've got little pigs now, and boy, they are sneaky. They can
Get
get
out.
out, and
We got puppies. We got
yeah.
we got Great Pyrenees livestock guardian dogs, puppies. Matter of fact, we have someone coming to look at you today. Thankfully, if y'all need any puppies, come see us. And then we'll be getting Athena fixed this week because we don't want any more puppies. And I do, but I don't. Like I want some in the future. I think the amount that we have is good, but you can't you can't properly do the breeding when you have working livestock guardian dogs. I mean, you can't separate the female from the males and pin them up during heat cycle and make sure that they don't, mate when they're going off to protect the homestead. So it's too hard to control the breeding with them. So they're getting fixed. But anyhow, so what do you think about my goals, though?
I mean,
So those are homestead goals.
yeah.
I have three sections of goals, and I talked about this in my newsletter. I have homestead goals, work goals, and personal goals. And so even though all those, the water, the infrastructure, the insulation is a homestead goal, I really kind of, it's a Timmy. I'm just support. I can help when I can, especially like with the fencing and stuff, but I'm very limited mobility wise. Because I'm supposed to have another surgery. I don't know when I'm going to plan that, but until then, it's kind of on him, which isn't really fair for me to make goals for him. But I know that having our water
Yeah.
taken care of. And can you imagine hauling water half a mile up a mountain every single day for your livestock and for your family? It's much. It's a bit much. It takes a lot of time, and insulation also would help the whole family, so we don't stay so cold or hot.
And one thing we didn't mention is firewood.
One of these years, he will learn. Now I can do the little stuff, and I chop like the fat lighter and the kitchen wood and stuff like that. But the very first year we were here, God bless, Sherry and Jack came to our rescue
They did.
because we're beach people and we didn't know how cold it would get. And right when the cold snap hit, Timmy got very, very sick, and he couldn't lift a finger, and we were freezing. And they brought us firewood because we had none, because we thought this itty bitty little pile that we chopped would be enough to last us the winter. So we learned that lesson that winter. So the next year we did more. We still didn't do enough. The next year we did more. We still didn't do enough. And then this year, at the beginning of summer, I'm like, chop some firewood, chop some firewood. Oh yeah, we will, we will, we will.
Well,
Because he was busy.
yeah, we would drive around and we would see people's firewood, and it's like, wow, that's a lot of firewood. And where we came from, we would have a stack of firewood, and we were like, yeah, we're set.
And we would be set
Yeah, but
because we lived at the beach.
here is a whole different ball
But
game.
Timmy, you've had 4 years to like realize we're not in Kansas
I
anymore.
know.
So one of these years we'll have enough firewood for the season. This is not it, but hopefully we'll learn,
Yeah.
just like our kids, live and learn. And so I begged him during the summer and the early fall. I said, please, we need to get firewood. We even rented a splitter because Timmy pulled his shoulder out in June, of all things, or no, in April. Anyhow, I said, last couple years, you spent every single day through the winter chopping firewood. And this year, I'd really like you not to do that so you could do some other things.
Still doing it.
One of these years.
But we do have a woodshed.
Yes.
Sort of a woodshed now.
He built a woodshed,
Yeah.
so now it's protected and we don't have to cover it with a tarp. So that's progress.
Yeah, the tarp thing does not work up here when you get 70, 80 mile an hour winds, let me tell you.
You can try to make it work. It's kind of funny, but
no,
I want to make sure I didn't see if anybody else chatted. But the other thing is the personal goals. And so I don't know if you have personal. Oh, his is try not to die. I love that goal. I was a little less dramatic with mine, but I do want to focus on my personal health. It's something that I've ignored since we moved here, and it was a priority of mine in South Carolina. And I loved how I felt. I loved how we lived. We're very eco-conscious, and we cared a lot about our food and our ingredients. I never stopped caring, but we're always in that fight or flight mode, that survival mode here. I haven't made the time to stop, reboot, and just focus solely on, our healthy living and our healthy lifestyle. And that my health has suffered for it. Timmy's health is. I can see it in you. I can see your little eyes, and you look like you're tired all the time. And he works hard. Don't get me wrong. I mean, but we worked hard in South Carolina too. I caught you live. Woohoo! Hi, honey. I don't know who it is. It just says home to Homestead. But hi, I'm glad you caught us live. And we're actually almost wrapping this up because we have livestock to do and church to go to this morning. But I think Sunday at 8 is a good time, don't you?
I'm good with it.
I'm good with it. And we might pop in every now and then during the work, but I want at least to be consistent with the Sunday at 8. And that is my business goal this year, is to stay consistent and keeping in contact with y'all and building some of our videos. Because we have been filming a lot this year. For my boss, we've made videos for him that I've always wanted to make for us. But we have filmed them twice, if that makes sense. So for instance, there was one of Timmy servicing our solar batteries, and we made 2 edits of that. Like I did one for my boss and the business I work for, and I did one for us to upload at some point in time whenever I got to it. So we got a good start on some videos like that. But that's my business goal this year. But personal health, are you interested in making a health change, or are you happy with how things are? And you don't lie. I mean, just tell the truth.
Well, of course. I mean, everybody wants to be healthy and have that, just that natural energy to. I think my drive overweighs my energy.
Your drive definitely does.
Any sense.
It does. No, because you don't have the energy to do it, but you have a lot of self-motivation and drive, and you just push through.
Yeah.
But that's not good for your health.
Good.
No. It's like running a vehicle on empty with a bunch of sediment in the bottom of the gas tank.
Okay.
Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
I did it.
Yeah.
I did something that you understood. Okay.
I need a laxative. No.
No. Do you know what I'm getting?
Yeah.
So that's what you're doing, though.
Yeah.
You sucking up all that, hubbub in the bottom of a trashy gas tank.
Hubbub.
Well, I don't know, debris, icky stuff that clogs your filter.
There you go.
And your engine don't run good, and it
sputters
out.
Some gas treatment.
But anyhow,
I get your point.
Do you get my point?
I get you.
But if you're serious about it, you got to make some changes because the biggest one is for him, sugar.
Yeah.
Sugar. Now we have bees, so we have honey, and we grew sorghum that second year we were up here. And that grows really well here. And I grow stevia, so we have that. We have natural sugar replacements, but the sugar isn't everything. And cutting that out before in our lives It was harder for him than it was for me, even though I am a sugar addict. I'm more of a carb addict. Give me some pizza and spaghetti and lasagna or a bagel with cream cheese. Oh my gosh, I'm making myself hungry.
Mm.
So, yeah, the sugar would be his hardest. Speaking of, like, as I'm looking at packs of Hershey's
That's
that
not mine.
you bought it yesterday,
No, I
did you
didn't.
not?
I didn't. That's Landon's.
Linda does not get Hershey with almonds.
I did not pick that up, and I bought it, but this wasn't for me.
So I'm sitting here looking at
That
Sour
would be
Patch
true.
Kids and all this stuff. So yeah, that would be a hard one. But
Mm.
when I say us getting healthy, that encompasses so much here on the homestead. That means growing more of our own food. That means getting back to making all of our own cleaners. Even though we use eco-friendly products, it's still, oh my gosh, what about that soap I got for dish soap? I bought an eco-friendly, biodegradable, natural lemon verbena dish soap for Christmas, and it ate the skin off my hands. I mean, my hands were like sliced open and raw and bleeding, and just used in it 3 days.
Yeah.
So even natural doesn't
It
always
was
mean
almost like a burn.
good.
Yeah.
Steve, hi brother, how are you? Steve's here, honey.
See.
He caught us at the tail end, but so yeah, so getting back to, and it's living healthy, just in our healthy living groups that we have. We've got 2 of them. So if you would like an accountability group for healthy living, we invite you. Well, there's one on Facebook, My Homestead Life Healthy Living, and one in our Mighty Networks group. And you just, I'll see if I can drop the link for it. Or Steve, if you can drop the link for it in comments, I'd appreciate it because I can't do another window while we're doing live. You're welcome to join. We post daily what we eat. You can post daily. We have another Faith and Fellowship. We post daily scripture, prayer requests. That's another part of your health, is your spiritual health. We post environmental stuff. I mean, healthy living encompasses all of that. So when I say I'm going to focus on my health, it's more than just my scale. It's, everything that we put on or in our bodies or around our environment. And that's, it is work. It is work. So many people say, well, I just treat myself. When you treat yourself with junk, that's a punishment. That's not a treat. Who's that guy? Drew Carey?
Yeah.
He said it best.
Yeah.
And I'm not a follower or a huge fan of his, but he said it. He lost all that weight. And he was talking about running marathons. And he said it used to be when he ran a marathon, he'd treat himself with a pizza afterwards. And it took a while for him to understand, then he had days of feeling like junk and sluggish, and to realize that wasn't a treat, it was a punishment. And it kind of stuck with me. It made sense.
Mm-hmm.
So I can say, oh, yeah, well, I'm going to treat myself one day a week to eat like crap. Does that make sense?
You pay the price later, yeah.
Yeah, it's an addiction.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to work on that. And if you want to join us or join me, then join those 2 groups for the accountability. I think it's a really good idea. I think it's a good goal. I like your goal of not dying, though. That's a really good goal.
That's a good one.
I've got that goal for you, too.
Yeah.
But y'all, we're going to wrap it up and just thank you for joining us. Thank you for being back with our coffee conversations. Did you miss these?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
I like having coffee with friends.
I miss the inner, whatever you want to call it.
The community, the interaction with people.
Yeah.
Because you don't see or talk to a lot of people here on the mountain other than us.
I talk to myself.
A lot. That's not a bad thing.
So, Timmy, what are we going to do today? Well, I don't know. We're going to chop some wood and...
Yeah. He does. I'm walking around the house all the time going, what? Oh, I wasn't talking to you. Okay.
Yeah.
You and this other person. But yeah, next week we'll talk about, let's get on what's working and what's not and the livestock situation. Because I think that a lot of homesteaders or people that want to get into homesteading deal with what we're going through right now. And we'll share where we're at, some decisions that we're making, and how we're going to solve those problems.
Yes, you're not alone.
You're not alone. You're never alone. We're right here. We're making the mistakes for you. All right. Well, you guys have a blessed day, and thank you for being here with us, and thank you for having coffee, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Thanks for putting up with us.
There you go. I was waiting for that. Say it again because I interrupted you.
Thank you for putting up with us.
Thanks, y'all. Bye-bye. And